Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, gonna go over a story titled, My Dad is Furious That My Mom Slept with Other People in an Open Marriage That He Wanted. And a big shout out to Julia for sending me this story. And guys, this story is being narrated by the daughter of the couple that's in the title. And long story short, this couple here, the husband and wife, he is 41, I believe, and she's 39. And from what I've got from the story here, she has always been a very good wife to him. This is from the perspective of the daughter, and I'm going to go on the basis that this is accurate. And this guy, meanwhile, has been a giant D-bag his whole life. The type of guy probably a lot of us would want to punch. And it sounds like she comes from a religious, traditional background, therefore she's been a religious, traditional wife, but he's always been a crappy husband to her on multiple fronts. Anyhow, you're going to see that one day he proposes the idea of an open marriage. And she was not for this at all, but eventually realizes he's going to do it anyway. And you're going to see how, as you can probably imagine, it's much easier for her to get guys than it's for him to get girls. And she also takes care of herself, works out, all that. And he's throwing a fucking tantrum because it's not working out in his favor. And you're going to see the direction that this goes with their marriage. And that'd be a good one to go over here from the other side, where ordinarily it's the gals bringing up this idea, but every once in a while you're going to see stories come along that guys bring this up, and it completely blows up in their face. The same way it blows up in the face of the gals that bring this up. When the women bring it up, and the guys go along with it, which is stupid, they have no problem getting guys, but usually what happens is the guy eventually finds a girl he likes and wants to get serious with, and then she wants to close it, but it's too late. In this situation, the guy thinks he can get a lot of partners, and he can't. Meanwhile, she's plenty of dudes, that's what she wants. Not that I agree with that, but you get the point, and off you go. But at the end of the day, proving this whole thing is the stupidest thing ever. If you're at the point that you want to do this, it's time to end the marriage. End of fucking story here. Or at least try to work on some things. But if it's beyond hope, fine. And by the way, as you're going to see, whenever anybody brings this up, they already got somebody in mind and or already hooking up already. So something a little different this time. Starts off, says here, my parents got married when they were super young. Aha. My dad knocked up my mom and their parents married them off. My grandfather was able to set up some business for my dad in a big city, and they moved there soon after my birth. My mom grew up in a conservative southern town where she was taught to be a submissive wife. And even after moving to the big city, she didn't spend much time socializing. She had no friends and never went out. My dad was only there to provide for us. He was always away on business, and he wasn't there as a husband for my mom or as a father to me. Well, anytime people are rushed into a marriage because of a pregnancy, the odds are it ain't going to work out too well and be a happy situation. It would have been better if simply they raised the daughter, and if it was in fact his daughter, that he obviously provided because it's his daughter, but rushed off to be married, that's foolish. But that's the old school, old-fashioned way of thinking. People can debate and argue on whether that's a good idea or not, but in my experience, what I've observed is it's not a good idea. My dad made a lot of money, so we never lacked anything. Growing up, I became my mom's best friend. We would talk about everything. I pushed her to make friends and to find hobbies. After years of pushing, she started going to a nearby park and made her first friend a gym trainer. I'm thinking Pokemon gym trainers. Encouraged by her friend and me, she decided to join a gym. She met a few people there and started having some semblance of a social life, but she continued to tell me everything. I think my dad's new secretary gave him the idea. Aha. But he asked my mom for an open marriage almost a year ago. Secretary, talk about a stereotype, huh? He told her he wasn't happy in their marriage and that she wasn't providing him with everything he wanted. My mom, who is a Christian wife, was mortified and told me about the proposal in tears. Wow, they are close. I suggested she get a divorce, but she didn't believe in it, and she wouldn't be the one to end the marriage. The marriage is over. They're both miserable, but because she's traditional background Christian woman, didn't want to end the marriage. I get the values and everything, but she's miserable, he's miserable, and now he wants permission to cheat. As my dad pushed, I knew exactly where this would end up if my mom agreed. Her friend and I convinced her. My mom was hesitant at first, but she agreed with the condition that they would be completely transparent with each other. Well, even though it was his idea and brought this up, still, it was foolish of her to go along with this. But in this situation, watch how this turns out. My dad was a middle-aged 41-year-old man with a belly, and my mom was a 39-year-old athletic woman who worked out regularly. Yeah, so you're not going to have girls beating down his door to hook up with a middle-aged guy with a belly, but a 39-year-old woman who works out regularly and takes care of herself, you're going to have plenty of dudes older than her and younger than her that want to, either young guys that want to hook up with the cougar, or the older guys that want a younger girl who's in her 30s if they're in their 50s. So she's going to have plenty of prospects. I'm 22 years old, by the way. I don't know how my dad was so blind or what he thought would happen. I helped create an online dating profile for my mom almost 6 months ago. After getting an insane number of matches, choosing from them and chatting with them for months, my mom started hooking up with a few people. Getting all this attention has provided a massive boost of her confidence, and she seems better. Oh, I'm sure it has boosted her confidence. I sure as hell hope she was very safe. Again, I don't agree with this lifestyle, but okay. My dad hooked up with his secretary almost immediately. Shocker, because supposedly it was her idea, and that's obviously what started the whole thing. He's had very little luck with other ladies. Shocker. With their transparency thing, my mom tells him about her hookups. A few weeks ago, my dad screamed at my mom for some minor thing. Usually my mom would apologize, but with her new confidence, she didn't back down. It's been constant fights the last few weeks. My dad keeps starting fights by making snide remarks about my mom's clothing or appearance. Man, he's acting like a freaking jealous bitch. He's acting like the way the women act in these stories. He almost even called my mom a WHORE, but stopped himself. I think open marriage finally sunk in. My mom told me that he tried to have a conversation about stopping their open marriage, but she immediately shot it down. I think they'll split up. So there you go. He can't have the fun that he wanted, or maybe things aren't working out with the secretary the way he thought they would, like maybe this would be mom's replacement, and now he wants to shut it down. Sound familiar? My dad was never there for either of us, but the thought of my parents splitting up still feels weird. I don't feel bad for my dad, but I wish he put effort into his family. I'm happy for my mom, though. Well, I'm going to stop her there. He may have been an a-hole, but to your mom, but was he an a-hole to you? To the young girl telling the story. And it sounds like he certainly provided a lifestyle. I will say that. He may not have been there, he may have been a dick, but it sounded like he provided a certain lifestyle, so you can't say he wasn't there for you in that regard. Now to the update. A few days after my previous post, my dad left our home and had a divorce served to my mom in a week. There you go. Guess we know who he's going after, his secretary. And now who's going to hold all the power over him? His secretary. My grandparents didn't know about any of this, but my dad told them when he served the divorce. He also implied to them that my mom was cheating on him. Well, again, if this is accurate, what an asshole. This was his idea. She didn't want any of this. She was unhappy, but she wasn't cheating on him, wasn't going anywhere. Yeah, she was hanging out with friends that she met at the freaking gym and all that, but it, again, doesn't sound like she was doing anything yet. Both sets of grandparents came to our home and started berating my mom. I kept screenshots of all my parents' communications, and my mom showed them to them. And it got way worse after that. Grandparents started fighting with each other, blaming each other's children for causing all this. Oh, I'm sure that was fun. A few days after that, my mom's old church friends came to our home. Back when my mom used to go to church, they used to look down at her for being from a small town. My mom has always been a very caring, non-judgmental person, so she disagreed with their bigotry, and they began excluding her from their activities. You know, what the hell with them? After she met her gym friends, my mom stopped going to church entirely. These church friends started calling my mom an SLUT, and she kicked them out. My mom is on a cut right now. She has very defined abs and arms. So along with all the normal stuff getting thrown at her, my grandparents accused her of having a man body, and she also had a lot of random transphobia thrown at her. Her trainer friend has been a great support through all this. She contacted the attorney she used for her divorce, and mom is spending a lot of time at her house. Well, I gotta wonder how muscular and built she is. Now, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. There are some guys that are really attracted to, like, really muscular women. And there are some guys that are completely repelled by muscular women. And there's a certain level You know, I like gals that are fit, okay? But there's a difference between being fit and looking like Sarah Connor from Terminator 2 or looking like a female bodybuilder. That turns me on. If the body is that muscular and defined, it's like seeing a dude, so like, no thanks. So I like the right in the middle. Fit, but she's got a little booty on her, but that's about it. But these jack girls, no thanks. It turns out the business my dad is running is owned by my mom. Oh, that's interesting. It was set up by my mom's dad in her name, so it belongs to her. I did not know this until now and assumed that my dad owned it. The whole situation is a huge mess right now. Dad is living in the same summer hotel, and my grandparents left yesterday after a week of fighting and trying to force my parents back together. Let them break up. The grandparents, the guy's 41, she's 39. They're grown-ass adults, okay? It's none of their fucking business. These are the same grandparents that pushed them to get married so young when they obviously weren't there because of a pregnancy. It hasn't worked. Part ways, they can both move on. I know there's a lot more divorce drama to come, but I hope it calms down for now. So that was the end of her quick little story here. But again, I like to throw these things out every once in a while when it's the guy that brings us up and it's the same freaking ending. It's a mess. So the bottom line is, for all those parties watching this, open marriage, open relationships don't work. Break up. And whoever's bringing it up, guarantee you, they're either cheating or they're planning to cheat and they got somebody in mind. Now some comments here before I wrap this up. One guy says here, honestly, I might just sit down with some popcorn to watch this implosion. So he basically wanted his wife's permission to bang his secretary, and when that didn't work, when that didn't work, this guy wrote this badly, through reserve. In other words, the wife would be so grateful he came back to her that she would what? Immediately end all the attention and self-confidence that she obtained? Yeah, exactly. Another guy says here, obviously your dad never did his research. In open marriages, it's almost always easier for a woman to find a date than a man. Duh. Unless this guy had his head so far up his ass, he just thought he was the greatest thing next to sliced bread. Okay, his secretary's hot for him, so he thought he was cool. Well, guess what? He's her boss, and she knows he has resources and can give her a better life. Come on here. Another guy says here, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. This is a beautiful example of karma. Good for your mom and glad she's living her best life. Sorry that you're caught in the middle. And one more, a little longer, but important to say. This guy says here, an open relationship is a bad idea. If both parties are not into it and the relationship is not already diamond solid, 99 times out of 100, it will end up destroying the relationship. Not because it's wrong, but because it will absolutely magnify any and all relationship issues. One or the other will realize the relationship is ending and will either actively end it or allow the other partner to end it. If both partners are into it and the relationship is rock solid and communication is solid, it can work. But most relationships aren't at that point. The only way this can maybe work is if both parties were into that lifestyle prior to getting together. And they both agreed on it. And even then, there's no guarantee. Your dad wanted to F around, and by doing so, he found out that at which the rest of us already know. Women do far better in the realm than men. That's because most guys will hook up with anything that moves, so long as it's not too overweight and has been good grooming and showering going on. That's about it. As long as their buddies don't know who they're hooking up with, most guys will nail anything. And as an unintended consequence, he created a strong, confident gal who will have no problem going forward. He could have done this without the open relationship and likely had a successful marriage. His loss. So, there you go. Doesn't work when women bring it up. Doesn't work when guys bring it up. So, we all know the lesson here. Alright guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you come across a good story like to share, email me. strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And I've been getting a lot lately, so this is awesome. Keep them coming. The more you guys send them in, the more I can crank these videos out and give you guys good quality entertainment every day. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.